Hey everyone, this is Ian Carlin from Mind for Fitness. Thanks for joining me today on the program. This is where we talk about the issues of health, fitness, diet, exercise, all those things that are going to take you to get you to your goal, to accomplish your health goal, your weight loss goals. And if you reach those weight loss goals, I want to see you maintain those weight loss goals and not slip back into old habits. So, actually, today that is the topic. Habits are the topic. So, how do we build healthy habits? That's what we're going to be discussing here on the program. We're going to be doing a fairly intricate in and out of, helping you go from a place where you don't have good habits to building good habits around health and fitness, and the importance of that and everything. And we're going to be talking about that today on the show. But before we do, I just want to remind you to please head on over to Amazon and buy my book, Fasting to Break Your Plateau. It's a little ebook. It's free actually if you're an Amazon Prime member, and if you're not an Amazon Prime member, it's only $2.99. So pick it up and show some support for the show. We'd really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And with that, we are going to get into today's subject, and that is how to build healthy habits. So first off, why do we want to build a habit? What's the importance of a habit in the first place? Well, when you have a habit, and if you think about in your own life, places where you already have habits that are already set in motion, it takes the thought work out of it. That's the idea of building a habit. Is that, and that's why it's so important to build habits and build constructive habits. And we have constructive habits. We also have destructive habits as well. Um, but when you have a habit, whether it's good or whether it's bad, you have like this automatic kind of recipe. So, for example, one habit you might have that you might not even think is a habit is going to work on the same road the same way all the time. You've built that habit. And for many people, I know that they've had this experience because I've had this experience where you just drive to work and you can't even remember like you drove there. It's just like I don't really remember what's going on. I don't really remember what I was doing on my way there. And that's because you have a habit. It's an automatic response. So if you have an automatic response, it takes the thought work out of it, that takes the willpower out of it, that takes the fight out of it. And that's what you really want to do. You want to take the fight, the grind out of it. Oh, I got to do this, particularly when it revolves around exercise and eating right. Okay, because that's the big deal. At the very beginning, you're all fighting it. You're like, okay, I got to eat healthy. I got to go to the gym. I got to, I got to do all this stuff. And it's very difficult at first until you build that habit. Then once you build the habit, that takes the willpower out of it because it's automatic. And that's the importance of building a habit. And that's what you want to do, is you want to build that habit. And I've had personal victory around this because and I know I've talked about this on the show, but it bears repeating, particularly for this episode. And that is, my habit around working out. Like, I go to the gym. I mean, that's just something I do on a regular basis. I mean, almost a daily basis. Every once in a while, I got to remind myself to take a rest day. And that's unusual for me because before it wasn't like that. Before it was a matter of forcing myself until one day, and I can't really even tell you, exactly the day or the time that it flipped over in my head, but at some point it just became a habit. It's what I do. I go to the gym and I set things up so that it'll make it that much easier. And I'll talk about that as we go along in the program. I have to forgive me for a second, taking a drink of my morning coffee here. Um, so that's why it's important, and I can testify to its importance because it's made my life easier. Okay, it's just something that's made my life easier. I mean, now that I have a habit around eating healthy food in the way I eat, and I have a habit around exercise, I can't begin to describe how much easier it is to maintain my weight loss and to continue to maintain my goals. Um, and so I want to pass that. I want to pass that on to you. And that's the real trick. The real trick isn't weight loss. The real trick is weight maintenance. I mean, there's bad information out there on weight loss, but that's not the majority of the people who listen to this. I mean, you know how to lose weight, right? But the trick is how do we keep it off? Most people who lose weight gain it back. Well, we don't want that to happen for you. So this is why it's so important. So the first thing you want to do when you're building healthy habits is you really want to define what you want. That's the biggest thing right there. I think that's step number one is you really want to define the healthy habits you want to create. If you don't ask yourself the right question, you're not going to get the right answer. I mean, it's an old term and it's an old saying in philosophy, and I'm not sure who came up with it. Certainly, it isn't original to me, but it's true. Okay, if you just go, oh, I want to start a healthy habit. Well, what's a healthy habit? Is that going to the gym 4 times a week? Is it going to the gym 3 times a week? Is it just making it to the gym once a week? What's a healthy habit? What is a healthy habit for eating? Is it, one low carb meal a day? Is it, one paleo meal a day? Is it 80/20, where 80% of my food's good and 20% is bad? What is a healthy habit? I mean, that's very important for you to define. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get real specific about your goals. You want to get specific about, well, not just your goals, but you want to get specific about your habits so that you can create your goals. So your habit isn't to eat healthy food. I mean, or sorry, your goal, yeah. Your habit isn't like, oh, I want to eat healthy food, or your goal isn't I want to eat healthy food. You want to build a habit to eat healthy food so that you can achieve your goal. Right? I think I said that right after messing it up a couple of times there. But basically that's the idea, okay? So you have to understand that habit is a means to an end, So be be conscious of your goals for sure, but also be conscious of your habits, because that is what's going to create in the end your goals. So I'm going to guess though that I don't have to really um, speculate too much if you're listening to this. I mean, if this was a podcast on money, I'm going to guess that your goals are going to be and your habits are going to be around what it takes to make money. But if you're listening to this program, I'm going to guess that your goals are around um, building habits that's going to help you be successful in losing weight and maintaining that weight loss. So that's just basically eating and working out. Now I don't know, obviously I can't assume everybody's habits out there. So I'm going to basically draw on some personal experiences and tell you what kind of habits I've created and how I've created them. And hopefully that will apply to your life as well. So I'm going to talk first off about, in general, things that will help in building a habit for weight loss and working out, and then I'll kind of break it down to more building habits around working out and building habits around weight loss. So here's the general idea. First off, is you want to write it down. Okay. Uh, that's the first thing you want to do. Whatever habit that you have that you want to create, write it down the night before. I cannot tell you, and I've done this, I've done this both ways, where I haven't written things down and I have written things down. And just the simple fact of writing something down, like writing out a to-do list and put your habits on that to-do list, like the habits you want to create, like get up and work out, or make sure that I eat vegetables, or whatever it is, write it down. Okay. Uh, and again, from personal experience, when I actually write a to-do list down, I accomplish most all of it. If I just say in my mind, oh yeah, tomorrow I'm going to work on this and I'm going to do that, And then I get up and sometimes I forget and or I don't want to do it. Um, but when I write it down, there's something magical that happens almost. It's like when I write it down, it's just like not just writing down my goals, but writing down the idea of what I want to do in the mornings and throughout the day to reach those goals, to create those habits. I get a lot more done. So I don't know exactly the framework or why it happens that way, but I know that that's my experience, and I know that it's experience of many people out there, that if you actually just write down what you want to do, then you are much more likely to accomplish it. So you write down, okay, in the morning I'm going to wake up a half hour early and work out. Okay, so that could be your goal, or you're not your goal, but your habit you want to form is working out in the morning. Okay, that's the second thing, and that is start in the morning. Get yourself a good start yourself off with good choices. So make sure that whatever habit you want to build, that you start the momentum early in the morning. Don't start your day off with bad choices. Start your day off with good choices. So whatever it is, the earlier you can get a jump on it, the better. Okay, so whatever habit you want to create to reach your goal of weight loss success, start in the morning. Now, we all know that willpower, we've discovered, is a limited resource. And that means it's easier to draw upon in the morning than it is after you've made all kinds of decisions and you've incurred decision fatigue. So make sure that you do it in whatever habit you want to create. Start creating it in the morning. Start off by making those good choices in the morning, and then start building momentum so it's easier and easier, and take out the actual mind frame of it. So just, oh, okay, in the morning I do A, B, and C. That's the goal of that's the idea of writing it down as well. So write it down, start in the morning, and here's what you want to do. This is the third thing: you want to declare it. Okay, what do I mean by declare it? You want to make it known what it is you want to do. Okay, so let's say, if you got your spouse or whatever, you're going to say, look, I'm waking up an hour. You got to tell them, you got to say, I'm waking up an hour early so that I can work out in the morning. Let them know that this is something that you want to do. A lot of times, and I talk about this on like secret dieting and things like that, we keep things a secret because we failed so often at it. Um, we don't let people know our goals, and this is a little bit different than goals because this is obviously dealing with habits. But we don't let people know our goals, or our habits, are what we're going to do, because we failed so often in the past. And so what happens is you know the first time you want to lose weight, and for me this happened around like, oh, I remember the first diet I went on was I was 11 years old. And um and of course I didn't have any residency hesitation. I didn't have any hesitation in telling people that I was going to go on a diet. Okay, I didn't have any hesitation because I was new and I didn't understand that I was going to fail so many times in my life. And throughout my life, as I failed and got fatter, and then got thinner and fatter and fatter and thinner, and on it, off again, there were times I noticed that there were times where I wouldn't make my intentions. I wouldn't make my intentions known. I would just like, oh, I'm just make a couple healthy more choices. I'm not going to tell anybody. Like I'd go out to eat at a restaurant and I'd order a cheeseburger but with no bun, and people were looking at me like, well, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing there? Um, and I wouldn't make it. No, I wouldn't declare what I was doing um, because I failed so often, and I didn't want to put myself out there and then fail again. But that's the opposite of what you want to do. Okay, that's the more you declare it, the the more that people understand how serious you are. And of course, you're always going to have naysayers. You're going to have people, that be skeptical about it. But if you declare it, you're actually taking away an obstacle to completing it. Because the obstacle may be what's going on in life, with your kids, with your spouse, with your work, whatever. Just say, oh, I got to be done at work by 5 because I have a class at 5:30 at the gym. Let people know so that when work comes and they say, hey, could you stay late today because we have the whatchamacallit reports, they already know in advance. And then you make compromises. You go, oh, you know what? I know I had that class I signed up for, but I know I need to do this and da, 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 da. Where if you say, hey, look, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have jujitsu class at 5:30. I don't mind staying late on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays, but Tuesdays and Thursdays, don't ask me because I have my class that I signed up for. Okay. So declare it, and that way people know, and that way things don't come up in the way and decide and make you decide to change your what you're going to do to create that habit. And then the fourth thing to do is make sure you ask for help. Okay. So ask for help. Say, say, look, hey, so you're talking to your spouse, and you say, look, our um something's coming up, I got an important event, I'd really like to look good for this, so from here until that event, let's not order pizza. So you're declaring it and say, would you help me so that I can look really good for this event the way I want to look? So please don't order, X, Y, and Z. So you declared it, and then you've asked for help. So you're recruiting people in this process. So those are the four basic ideas that can apply to either one. So let's get to some of the more specifics of working out and weight loss, and eating right, that I've applied. So first off, work out. Okay. Number one, if you go to the gym, pack your bag the night before. Okay, pack your bag. So you want to make it a habit to go to the gym, right? I mean, that's the idea. You want to make it a habit to work out. Whether you're working out at home, I'm going to assume for myself, this is out of my own personal experience. So just go along with me. You're trying to create a habit of going to the gym, 5 days a week, whatever, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, at least 4 days a week, some at least 3 days a week, better off 5 days a week. And there's even some argument that you can bump that up to 6. So let's just say that. So for me, I pack my bag on the days I'm going to go to the gym. I pack my bag the night before. Going to the gym is the habit I want to create. So pack my bag the night before. Step number 2, bring your bag with you. Okay. In the morning, bring it with you. Do not leave it at home, because you know what's going to happen. You go home and whatever, something gets in the way. You check your Facebook. You sit around. You got to get to your emails. No, take it with you. Either go to the gym, if you're not going to go to the gym in the first thing in the morning, because I go to the gym when, depending upon the day, sometimes at night. So I take my bag with me. All right. So make sure. And if I am going to the gym in the morning, I lay out my workout clothes on my dresser. So I lay out what I'm going to wear that day. So when I wake up in the morning, I put those workout clothes on. So pack a bag the night before, or lay out your clothes the night before. And if you need the bag, take it with you. Don't leave it home. And that will help you make a habit of going to the gym. Third thing you can do is sign up for a class that you pay for. Okay. If it's free, you're more than likely not to join it. All right. I've even noticed that at the gym, because I pay for my membership at the gym. And this is going beyond paying for a membership. A lot of times people pay for a membership and they never show up. Pay for a specific class. Pay for a kickboxing class, a jiu-jitsu class, whatever. Pay for it. Because if you pay for it, you're more likely to get in on that class. And if you go to a class, you're more likely to put effort into it. So you want to create the habit around working out, going to the gym, working out, pay for a class. Okay. Now diet. Now, obviously, the idea that you want to create around diet is that you want the habit of eating the right foods. Okay. So here's step one. Bang. Buy the right foods. Okay. Have them in your house. Have them everywhere. Make sure you have the right foods and you have a lot of them, and make sure they taste good. Make sure you like them. They're not just quote unquote diet foods. They're great. They're good for you foods, but they're also foods that you really, really enjoy. Number two, creating habit around eating right. Get rid of the bad food out of your house. I'll tell you what, I lapse a lot of times, and because I'm still human. Okay. I still mess up from time to time, probably more often than I would like to admit. I mess up. But let me tell you why I mess up. Okay. The reason one of the things is there's like an initial problem that I'm having, but then sometimes we'll have bad food available. It's a little bit more difficult because I'm not the only person in the house, and everybody else isn't on the same page as I am. So this is a little bit more difficult for me because we have lots of quote unquote bad food in the house. But I have talked to my wife, and we are working on getting some of this junk out of the house so it's just not here, so that when we do eat bad food, when we decide to eat bad food, it's out. Okay. So get rid of the bad food. Get rid of the candy off your cupboard, the Snickers bars, whatever it is. Get rid of it. Good food, get rid of bad food. Real simple. All right. And always eat the good food first. Always eat the good food first. So that's how you create good habits, everybody. That's how you create good habits. That's how you create good habits, particularly around health and nutrition and working out. Remember, you want to create these habits because it takes willpower out of it. There have been so many times that I think that I probably wouldn't have binged and eaten bad stuff for me if it wasn't available. The simple fact that it was available really caused me to overeat in some bad foods. So if you have bad food, make sure you're having it out and not at your house. All right. Well, that's been the show for today. Thank you for listening in. If you liked what you heard, please do us a favor and share it on your favorite social media. Also, write us a review in iTunes. Give us an honest review. That would be very helpful. Or Stitcher Radio, or wherever you're listening to this. And you can go to you can follow us on Facebook at Facebook.com/A Mind for Fitness, and you can follow us on Twitter at A Mind for Fitness. And go to my YouTube channel. Now I get like between 2,000 to 3,000, depending upon how often I do these. I can get between 2,000 to 3,000 downloads a month of my program, and that's awesome. I love it. But my YouTube has got barely any subscribers, so I'm trying to become a bigger, and it's my fault because I haven't really done a lot on YouTube for this. So I'm trying to get get a bigger presence on YouTube. So go to YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's A Mind for Fitness, and that would mean a lot to me, folks. Thank you very much. Also, don't forget to buy the book. I'll link it in the show notes. Fasting to Break Your Plateau: A Basic Guide to Intermittent Fasting. Thanks, and we will talk to you again soon.